Sit with me for a second. Imagine you're a tiny person in a big, scary world. You're given an insurmountable task, something that could easily end your life if you aren't careful. But you aren't in it alone. Alongside you are companions, friends, and it's these friends, those you've put your trust in, that help see you to the end. Even at the final hurdle, your friend is the one to help you, to reassure you.
Come on, Mr. Frodo. I can't carry it for you. But I can carry you! Come on!
I just described, very poorly, Frodo Baggins' story from The Lord of the Rings. Spoiler alert, The Lord of the Rings is actually about how the power of your interpersonal bonds, of love, can help even the smallest hobbit save the world. It's these types of stories, ones where people learn that they can't do it alone, that their friends are there to help them, that I want to celebrate. Because I feel that one too many series where the protagonists tough it out through the strength of their friendship, the conviction of the bonds with those they hold dear, are bemoaned by anime fans. Cries of, "I can't believe they won through the power of friendship," are oft screamed by a fandom knee-deep in a diet of blood, guts, and nihilism. And don't get me wrong here, I love me some edge. But even in that edge, in the series where the protagonist carves a bloody path of violence towards the end, you can find some light.
僕は今探し始めた映し吹き上げて果てしなく続く世界へ溢れ出す情熱を胸にどこまでも行くのまだ見ぬ光求め
Berserk is one of the darkest manga to grace the 40 million sales mark. It's a work where people die fast, the world is bleak, and nihilism reigns supreme. It's a favorite amongst people who love dark fantasy. But even Berserk understands the importance of bonds. The antagonist of Berserk is Griffith, a man who has forsaken those bonds in lieu of immense power. The protagonist, on the other hand, is Guts. Guts is a man who, through probably one of the most traumatic lives a protagonist has ever lived, learns that he can't go it alone. That to break the chains of fate that bind him, he needs to learn to love, to lean on those close to him. That love can save even a broken wretch like him. It's beautiful. All of this to say that I have a handful of series I want to put in the spotlight here. Series that I think get a bit too much flack for their optimism. Like, when I see discussion of these series, invariably I'll see someone go, "Yeah, but the good guys just win through the power of friendship. It's so lame," or what the fuck ever. And of course, sometimes, the power of friendship is unearned. But I feel these examples are earned and a half. Much like Berserk and Lord of the Rings, the series I want to highlight are ones that are defined by how strong their execution of the power of friendship is. Up next is Naruto. And before you call the nostalgia card on my ass, I want to stress that I read Naruto for the first time this year. I believe that many people misconstrue Naruto's message. It's not about working hard, people. Rock Lee isn't the protagonist. Naruto is, and his series is about finding what drives you as a person and using that drive to help others. Nowhere is that more apparent than in the relationship between Naruto and Sasuke that forms the emotional core of the series. A relationship that the manga spends its entire runtime building up to the conclusion of. When Naruto and Sasuke finally clash at the tail end of the series, it feels fucking visceral. It's a rematch 45 volumes in the making. The fight devolves into a brutal slugfest between two estranged friends, both of which are convinced that their side is the right side. And by the end, Naruto wins. Naruto, after his promise to Sakura, finally brings Sasuke's priorities back to Konoha Village. He proves that no matter how far someone falls, that they can be saved. That they can work towards some form of atonement. All they need is the right stimulus. It's this positivity about atonement, this idea that love can save the corrupt, that I see people call childish. It's unrealistic, they cry. My counter to this cry is thus. You're engaging in fiction. Fiction is a tool by which to explore concepts and ideas that may not always work in real life. Sometimes the best things fiction can do is provide us ideals and morals grounded by idealism, rather than a slightly nihilistic take on reality. Of course, there are absolutely people beyond redemption. Absolute monsters exist in our world. But Naruto isn't about saving an absolute monster. It's about saving a person, a child, corrupted by a bloody and solitary life. It's about teaching that person, and others, that their life does not need to be defined by said solitude and bloodshed. All it takes is a little love and friendship. Fruits Basket was a sleeper fave of mine that I didn't expect to love. I began watching the 2019 remake at the behest of my fiancé. Sure, I'll watch the funny show where people turn into animals, I said. I'm sure it'll be fun. What I didn't expect from Fruits Basket was the way in which it grounds and contextualizes the funny animal gimmick. Because on the surface, it does just look like a fluffy romance with just that, a cute gimmick. People turn into animals when hugged by someone of the opposite sex is turned, however, into a harrowing metaphor for the othering that people can feel as a result of abuse. Everyone struck with the Soma Zodiac curse has suffered immensely at the hands of the Soma family patriarch, Akito, their parents, their siblings, and their cousins. Marked from birth, this pain manifests throughout their whole lives. Enter Toru Honda. Toru Honda has lived a hard life. Born to an unusual couple, her father a teacher and her mother his student, she lost both of them young. She feels like a burden to those around her, constantly apologizing to her friends and family alike for little things. Called the rice ball in the fruits basket by children at school. And she's the perfect girl to help the Somas learn to heal. She gets caught sleeping in a tent on Soma land owned by Shigure Soma, and is invited to live with them while the home she was staying at is renovated. This invitation dominoes into a radical uplifting of the Soma family structure as Toru meets and befriends those cursed with the 13 Zodiac spirits. She tempers the rage of the fiery Kyo, melts the barrier of the icy Yuki, soothes the heart of the abandoned Momiji. The list goes on. All of this change, this growth, because of a single kindness shown to a girl with a heart full of love. Through the power of friendship, she saves the lives of those who consider themselves unsavable. Makoto Yukimura's Vinland Saga is hands down one of my favorite works of fiction ever. It tells the life story of Thorfinn, a man whose youth was defined by rage. He carved a path of bloody revenge across England, only to trip at the final hurdle. He loses his drive, becoming a husk of a man sold into slavery. A man haunted by the deeds of his past. It is as a slave that he meets Einar, a man who helps Thorfinn unpack and process a life lived soaked in the blood of others. He also builds a relationship with his owner, a man named Ketil. Thorfinn lives his life as a slave, building a farm with Einar and listening to sermons about Jesus Christ. It is through this life as a slave and through the teachings of Christ that Thorfinn resolves to never harm another person again. That, in order to atone for the lives he has destroyed, he must put good into the world greater than that of the pain he has caused. Thorfinn learns, through the realization that the hard work of helping others feels good, that love is what can help him atone. To say more would be doing you a disservice. Vinland Saga is a masterpiece, a life's work in the making, a series worth your time, one defined through and through by an incredible love for life and the idea that someone, through his bonds with others, can atone. On the topic of life's works, I want to finally bring up the king of the power of friendship, Eiichiro Oda's One Piece. I'm not caught up to One Piece, far from it really. I'm on chapter 217 of over 1,000. However, it has quickly become my favorite manga. Through his idiosyncratic creative flair, Eiichiro Oda's life's work is one defined by an intense and unwavering passion for the importance of the other in one's life. The first narrative saga, the East Blue Saga of One Piece, is built on one core idea. That Nami, the Straw Hat Crew's navigator, doesn't want help. To achieve her goals, she will manipulate others and try to tough it alone. She spends 10 volumes adhering to her self-imposed rule that she doesn't need help. But it comes to a head in the Arlong Park arc. Nami believes she has finally saved enough money to achieve her goal, saving her town from the iron-fisted rule of the fishman Arlong. What Nami learns, however, is that no matter how hard she tries, as long as she tries to do it alone, it will be a rough and lonely road, one defined by unbelievable hardship and loss. It is in the final act of the arc that Nami finally breaks. In her attempts to try and save the town herself, she has caused the entire town to engage in a suicide charge on Arlong's compound. She begins to self-harm, slashing at the tattoo that marks her as a member of Arlong's pirate crew. Luffy, the ever-grinning, happy-go-lucky protagonist of One Piece, stops her, a frown on his face.
Luffy.
Nami chastises him, telling him that he has no idea what has gone on in the town for years, that this has nothing to do with him. She begs him to leave. Luffy watches as Nami breaks down further, until she finally utters the 3 words that form the emotional climax of the East Blue Saga.
Luffy. Help me. Of course. That's what friends do.
He places his most prized possession, the straw hat given to him by red-haired Shanks, on Nami's head, and goes to confront Arlong one last time. It is in Nami's breakdown that one of Eiichiro Oda's life philosophies shines through. He can be quoted as saying, "The most dangerous thing you can do is rely on other people." To ask Luffy for help is terrifying to Nami. Handing off her pain, her life's work, to someone else could result in even more bloodshed. But she does it. She learns that this fear of asking for help, of needing to rely on others, is one that means nothing in the face of insurmountable odds. It is this core, the need to rely on others is scary, but being alone is scarier, that defines One Piece so far for me. Time and time again, a Straw Hat may be out of commission, or they'll be separated, and the stakes raise higher. Without Nami, the Grand Line could swallow them whole. Without Sanji, they could starve. Without Chopper, they would die. But together they can face insurmountable odds and come out the other side grinning. Because they have love. Because they're friends. Because, to use the cheesy, untranslated, and to some untranslatable word that implies a bond that goes deeper than blood and bones and the temporality of the physical world, they're nakama.